that new Sony picture, Madam Web, it's not going to be in the multiplexes forever. This is What If 41. Friggin' fantastic comic that I urge you all go and read, because I am going to ruin it with my niche low-tier comedy YouTube video. Oh, Silver Surf Man and Galactus Man, they're fighting the Flash, famous Marvel character, the Flash. And Hank Gordon is called Hank Gordon for some reason. And then there's Charlotte Witch. That's not their names, is it? This is by Michael Valentino. This is fucking great. This issue, one of the all-time best What If issues. Michael Valentino is the writer and artist. He did the SeaWorld Attacks issue of What If, which is another good one. But he is best known, I think, for Galactical Guardians. And that was good. The 90s Galactical Guardians series. Less said about Image Comics, the better. This is a reinterpretation of the classic Stanley Lee and Jack Quimby Galactus Man saga, but now with the Avengers. We are seeing the events of Fantastic Force, issues 48, 49 and 50, the first appearances of both Galactus Man and Silver Surf Man, but now with the Avengers. The big baby in a nappy comes to warn Earth that Galactus Man plans to devour it, but now with the Avengers. Then Galactus Man's plans are halted and undone by the Silver Surf Man's conscience, but now with the Avengers. Our conceit is simply that the Fantastic Force don't exist in this reality, and you can kind of poke holes through a lot of that premise. Like, for example, the Avengers only came together because of intercepting a distress call meant for Fantastic Force. One thing it does acknowledge is no Captain America. Without Fantastic Force, then Seaman was never revived from his derelict stupor, and thus Captain America was never freed from ice by Seaman. Everything else Avengers seems to have happened similar to how it did happen, but just without Captain America. For Avengers buffs, this takes place shortly after Avengers 29. A lot of What If issues are a miserable experience. They are taking a story or an event like these had Fantastic Force issues and making them more depressing, or in the 90s, more violent and cynical. This doesn't, though. This feels like this is what If should have been. A twist on a well-known story that provides an alternative. A fun story in its own right. Rather than it just be, what if something worse happened? We see the Avengers reacting to the arrival of Silver Surf Man. I really love this issue. It's fantastic, and I kind of want to show every single page. So sometimes I might not have all that much to say. In fact, a lot of the time, I will just be comparing it to what actually happened. The big baby in a nappy, he unveils himself to the Avengers. or rather to Hank Gordon, and tells him of the coming of Galactus Man. Something I love is the image of Hank Gordon at giant size next to the big baby in a nappy. It makes for a different visual than we are used to seeing with a big baby in a nappy. The Avengers head off to confront Silver Surfer Man before he can summon Galactus Man, and Iron Man briefly does battle with Silver Surfer Man. They were too late. Galactus Man has arrived. That is his ship there. And so now Galactus Man is here. Galactus Man is on Earth. And that bloody Hawkeye, he tries to fight Galactus Man with his arrows. When will he learn? Galactus Man would have obliterated him with a laser if it weren't for the Flash, one of the best Marvel characters. The Flash saves Hawkeye. And then Iron Man gets cheesed off and also tries to fight Galactus Man and gets one-shotted. In the original story, Silver Surfer Man, while roaming Earth, met Kerry Washington, the Thing's long-suffering girlfriend. She looked after Silver Surfer Man, who had fallen off his surfboard, I think. And she was instrumental in convincing Silver Surfer Man that his master's actions were not fair or just. It is the 90s now, though, and instead, this time, street crime happens to Silver Surfer Man. Some Uds try to mug him or try to rape him. You can never know. The call goes out to assemble all the Avengers, past and present, to face their greatest challenge yet. This is pretty early on for the Avengers, so we don't have that many Avengers to bring in. We have Thor and Hercules Man. They arrive ready to help stop Galactus Man. Great squad of Avengers, though. Avengers assemble and that. I will be eternally bummed out that Captain America didn't get in on this one. But it is oddly something that makes this unenjoyable. Our main characters in this story aren't actually the Avengers. Not really. We are focusing on the big baby in a nappy and Silver Surfer Man and their respective oaths. The big baby in a nappy, his role in the universe is he is a monitor. He observes things happening but can never interfere. Might as well say he first appeared in Fantastic Four 13, also created by Stanley Lee and Jack Quimby. He shows up whenever something important is happening that he must observe. And he is in a few of those early Fantastic Four comics, and often warns Mr. Fantasticals of something bad about to happen, which anyone can point out is surely breaking his non-interference pact. In more recent times, the big baby in a nappy is a thing that rubbish writers have ran into the ground to prop up their stories. You'll show up at a wedding of two people who separate within a few years. The other vow we are exploring is Silver Surfer Man. He has pledged to serve Galactus Man and seek out worlds for him to feast upon. Despite the lack of Kerry Washington and the fact that he was almost raped in an alleyway, and they would have raped him. They couldn't have mugged him. He didn't have any money. so rape it must be. Even though he had a bad experience and saw how shitty this planet is, he still feels conflicted about dooming all these people to certain death. We get to see the Avengers fighting Galactus Man, and as much as I love this issue, there is a big problem. The scale is never consistent. The size of Galactus Man or the size of the big baby in a nappy, it changes from panel to panel. For example, pay attention to Hercules Man punching Galactus Man in this middle panel. He doesn't look that much smaller than Galactus Man, but in a few pages' time, you will see Galactus Man holding Hercules Man in his hands. Also, a lot of this, a very, very lot of it, is direct remakes of panels or homages to panels from the original story. If you want my advice, don't read the original before this. This works better without noticing every single bit of repetition or source of inspiration. Have it off in your memory. It's better without the direct comparison. Hulk shows up too. Don't forget he was an Avenger. He received the same summons to get all the past members to come out and help. So now we have Hulk. This is interesting because we do this subplot and it doesn't have the same outcome. Iron Man is dispatched by BBIAN to go to Galactus Man's spaceship and acquire the ultimate Nelly Furtado, but he is unsuccessful in doing so. In the original, Hume on Fire obviously did this, and so the what if definitively proves that Hume on Fire is better than Iron Man. This is a double-sized issue. I forgot to say that. It does fit a lot into it. Silver Surfer Man, he re-enters the battle between the Avengers and Galactus Man, and so we get to see Silver Surfer Man versus Thor, and this is great. Two characters fighting, and Hulk, he tries to smash Galactus Man, and Galactus Man, he gets irritated, so he deals with Hulk by transforming him back into David Banner, and then Galactus Man blasts most of the Avengers with his laser beams. So what we have left is Thor, Hercules Man, and a big baby in a nappy. Well, actually, not quite. There is one more Avenger, and that is the original Sword Man. Even though he was kicked out of the team and joined under false pretenses, he arrives in time to help the team oh no, he's already dead. And Galactus Man, he tells a pun here, and he is better at it than my nemesis. I don't want to be a downer, but Sword Man only got on the Avengers by faking an endorsement from Iron Man. But in this reality, Iron Man was still on the team at that point. I suppose maybe he faked one from Thor instead this time. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Never mind me. Pointless gripes. Now it is Hercules Man. He's trying to fight, and he is bemoaning the big baby in a nappy for not getting involved. And then the unthinkable happens. The big baby in a nappy breaks his vow. He stops Galactus Man from crushing Hercules Man. This entire thing, we have seen the big baby in a nappy be misused so much in comics, and his level of non-interference has always been debatable. But for me, this still carries the same weight that it should always have. This is special. Seeing him actually break his oath and... Your compatriots have served well, Captain, but now this be a war of gods. This is epic, in every sense of the word. Galactus Man, he battles the big baby in a nappy, and while this is going on, Thor, who has reverted to his human Donny Wall-Blake form, he is trying to convince Silver Surfer of the wrongness of his actions. And we are contrasting Silver Surfer's loyalty to Galactus Man with Big Baby in a nappy and his oath. He was able to recognise that this was wrong, and he stood up to Galactus Man. But will Silver Surfer? Seriously, amazing issue, this one. It helps that it is basing itself on such a high quality story, and it is approaching it with nothing but love. This is not only getting one of the greatest 7 thumbs up ratings I can give, but I would say this is in the company of that Marvel Snapshots, Seaman one shot, some of Roy Sternham's Avengers, and that final issue of 0 Hours has been one of the all-time best comics I have reviewed to date.